And
We're
yeah,
live.
first, okay, we're live. Great. First, I'm going to do a little bit of intro. Then we're going to introduce our speakers, our guests, and after that, we'll jump right into the questions and move the discussion. So, hello everyone. I'm really happy to see you on our first League of Legends meetup. The purpose of these meetups is that we meet once a month for about an hour or so, maybe a little bit more if we see the discussion going on. And the point is to get to know each other, to try to bring together the Slovenian League of Legends community with the goal to see what are the opportunities here, what is currently going on, what are the opportunities that are already being taken, and also what are the opportunities that exist but no one is still tackling them. And maybe here we can also learn from the practices that we know from regional or even global development of League of Legends scene. And that's why also we will have these meetups in English, because we anticipate that we're going to get guests from abroad as well. A little bit about me. My name is Jure, as you can see on Zoom. I'm a long-time gamer since I can remember, and esports enthusiast since the late 90s. Basically was joining all of the LANs that were back then played in warehouses and in places that shouldn't be lived in for more than 5 minutes, but it was what it was. And since then I've been following the esports scene. Mostly I was focused on RTS, the StarCraft scene, but also for CSGO. Back then it was CS 1.6, and of course with the advent of League of Legends, I also really like following the scene and really like watching the games. I don't play that much anymore. I play a couple of games per week, but it is what it is. Okay, so otherwise I'm also a co-founder here at Reveris, where we're trying to build an environment which means offline and online, because currently we cannot do it offline. We're mostly going to be online. A meeting point that will be like a source of knowledge or an inspiration for creating new ideas, for developing talents, helping with teams, creating teams, helping with organizing events, connecting people from different companies, from different stakeholders that want to be included in this. And basically we want to some way raise the professionalism in the field of esports and gaming in Slovenia. And here we also target game development, which is basically the part of the whole scene. So that's Reveris in a couple of sentences. Now, I mentioned before, but I'm going to mention again. If you don't mind, please turn on your cameras. As Tom likes to say, it's nice to see your faces and your reactions, whether be happy, sad, cringe, anything. It's really nice to see you guys' reactions. So if you have a camera and you have that possibility, please do turn on your cameras. Also, if you're unfamiliar with Zoom, I suggest that you click the gallery view in the upper right-hand corner so that you see everyone who is talking and you see all of the reactions that I was talking about. Okay, that's enough about me and the intro. And now I will just briefly introduce our guests, and then I will give them the words to dive a little bit more into their past and why they are here. So first we have Gašper Bakač, Esports Federation of Slovenia secretary and LOL esports event organizer. We have Primož Gorenc, who is a LOL commentator at Spid.si. And then we have Nejc Muhič, who is a LOL team captain at Dragons Esports. This was short introduction, and now I'm gonna throw it to Primož to maybe say a few words about why you're here, who you are, what you do, and what makes you the person to talk on such an event.
So yes,
you said, I mostly do the commentating, some organizing, like most of the events that happen in Slovenia in the last few years. I started in December 2017 on Epicenter 15, and so on, every epicenter online, and some Slovenian leagues, some Nejc, almost every time that it happens, I'm there commentating it, and if I'm not there commentating, I'm at least there watching. So I try to follow as much as possible Slovenian League of Legends here in Slovenia and in the regional scene when Slovene players play, I mean, for regional teams, and I try to follow them. And also the LEC and of course the LCS and stuff like that.
Okay, great, thank you. Maybe just a few words. How did you start commentating? This, I think, would be an interesting.
I basically started like just for fun when I played with my brother, or when someone else played. Just when we played Pro Evolution Soccer, I commentated next to it, and then I just saw randomly in November that they're looking for casters for Epicenter 15. Tried it a bit, made a practice or two, then tried taping myself, and then went on Epicenter 15 and casted there, which was quite an experience. I mean, the first time you're super nervous, but with practice, I mean, you get better. Especially, I think the first Slovenian league was the type of project that I also quite helped to organize, and do also some streaming, do some casting on my own, do some casting with random casters, and it was an experience that just made me realize that I enjoy doing this, that it's fun even when it's hard, and ever since then it was more enjoyable and a lot easier.
Cool, thank you. Okay, then maybe Gašper, if you can say a few words about yourself, how you came to be here.
Yeah, well, you obviously invited me since I'm a secretary at the Esports Federation of Slovenia currently. But just to go back to the love and the games, I'm playing games since ever. The first I was fascinated with the things on screen, then later on, now that I grew up, I'm fascinated mostly with the relationship between the screen and the one who's watching it. I'm doing a PhD out of it. I'm also a father now of 2 kids, so before that, when you were talking about sleep, tried to catch some sleep while having 2 kids. But just to go back to the games, I've been playing League of Legends since the first day it launched. It's quite a funny story. I won't go into details, but I can vividly remember the day when we started playing. I stuck with the game for so long, which is really weird for me because I'm switching games constantly. I'm always trying out something new, and I stopped playing like 5 or 6 years ago. I was really sick of it, mostly the toxic environment. And later, 6 months ago or a bit more, when I joined the Esports Federation project, we were discussing the games that we wanted to have. No one had enough knowledge about League of Legends, and I thought it would just be sad not to have it, since the game is widely played, popular. And I started playing a bit just to get a bit in, still not completely in touch with everything. So mistakes happen. But we're on it. We're getting there. Pretty much that's it.
Okay, great. Thank you. You mentioned you're working on your PhD.
Yeah.
Is it related to video games? Is it related to what you're doing or what you're here for? Or is it just something?
It's related to video games.
Okay.
Like I said, I'm researching the relationship between the things going on screen in video games and the one who's playing them.
Okay.
The one who's watching them. I mean, the title is very broad. It's actually video games in art, but it can easily translate to everything. It's a wide spectrum.
Cool. Thanks. It's nice to see that there's other fathers in the audience. So that gives you a special perspective on games and cherish the time that you have for playing them or watching them. Okay, thank you. Then Nejc, can you please, in a few words?
Yeah, so as you already said, I'm the team captain for Dragon Esports, and I'm here to share my thoughts on the whole league scene in Slovenia. And right now I've been playing competitively for like 1 year. And the whole idea of playing competitive was when I met a friend on the Facebook, which we now hang a lot. And we said one day, hey, you want to go play competitive? Let's make a team. And so we found the organization called Dragon Esports, and they actually took us in. And now I'm here. That's basically my whole story. Just a random guy who started playing games in my mom's basement, and that's it.
That's nice. It's fast ascension to professional esports. That's what we like to hear. Okay, great. Thank you, everyone. So before we start with the questions, I would like to put up the warm-up poll. Živa, if you can put it up, and maybe we can see. You can answer basically, and we'll see what kind of audience we have currently here. And we'll go through the first question, and then maybe after the first question we can check the poll and see what the answers are. Okay, so to start off, I would say that League of Legends is still the largest esports by following and by earnings globally. It has 115 million monthly player base in 2020, and it has a huge 75 million in total prizes. Now, in comparison with Dota 2 and Minecraft have 10 million, CSGO has 25 million, and so on. In Slovenia, is there still space for growing the player and spectator base, as well as the competition revenue, sponsorship? Okay, sponsorship, prize pools, and so on. How do you see this situation right now in Slovenia? If we compare it, we don't need to necessarily compare it to the global market, but how do you see this in Slovenia first? And on what level are we? Where are we? Maybe Primož, you can start, because you're very involved in organization and commentating of such events.
Yeah, I think that the best comparison may be drawn with like regional with EBL Balkan League. So this is where Riot puts us, and I think it's quite a comparable situation for us. When it comes to player base, I mean, here maybe Nejc will know more about it, but I think like a lot of high skilled player base is quite engaged, but we lack the ones that are more for fun gamers that just want to join with friends and play some league or even watch some league, especially when it comes to viewership. I think there's there could be ways to reach this higher audience, but it's hard, like in Slovenia, I think, to reach them with those channels that usually work, I think, in the other countries. And especially, I think it needs more constant. It needs to be constant events, constant teams that players, that viewers maybe can engage with the teams. I know that Zajce is a well-known, just the same name. It doesn't have to be same 5 players, but just the same name that plays for like 10 tournaments with most of them. And you get the fans, you get people like to watch you, people prefer to watch the teams they know, the players they know. So we try to make as much storyline as there is, but yeah, you need events for this. You need constant action on the scene.
How would you rate then, maybe because you're also a little bit involved into the CSGO, how would you rate the CSGO scene in this regard, as you said, creating storylines, existing storylines, compare the two games? How are they between in Slovenia especially? Right
now? I think CSGO had a huge advantage just a few years ago, but now LoL is catching up with more events, with more constant action, with more also broadcasting. I think plays a key. Like, you start at low numbers, you start with a few people that like to join, but then players that played some events ago, but don't even maybe play anymore, but still come to watch, come to cheer for the teams, know the teams, and I think we're catching up. CSGO has, I think, that it's quite a community already. I think a bit better, more active maybe community than League of Legends, but I think that higher play rate maybe because League has, even in Slovenia, I think maybe a bit of higher, especially casual play rate. I think we are catching up to them. We just need more activity in the field to keep up.
Cool. Thank you. Nejc, you said you just a random guy started playing Rose to Professional. What was this road like? How did you, you probably went through this creating of a storyline for yourself, right? So how do you see this? How did it happen for you here in Slovenia?
Everything comes with the hard work and obviously not giving up. And I'd say to casual players like that want to play professionally or semi-pro or even join the tournaments or get higher ranks, the best way is like to join them, even if you're a lower rank, because with that you get experience. And obviously with experience you improve and you get better at the game. And that's why I probably hate myself, because like I was always scared at competing because I was a lower rank. And like probably that's the worst thing you can do right now. Like the best thing is to just go, try, have a good time. And with that, you will soon improve and like you'll get to the top. You just can't give up.
Cool. And you mentioned that you met someone on Facebook and you just said, let's make a team. Do you know like of any places where people can, or is it just League of Legends and some Facebook pages? And how did you meet this guy? How did you decide that you want to make a team? What was the process there?
Riot implemented a new feature called Clash, which was like a tournament in game. So I was like, oh shit, I'm bored, let's play something. And like we had 4 friends and we needed one guy that plays support. And I was like, let's go on some Facebook pages that are in Slovenian, obviously. And I was like, hey, does anybody want to go play Clash? And I just put our ranks in. And then there was this guy that was like, hey, sure, let's go play. And then we started playing every day. And then we like kind of got really good friends. And then one day I was like, yo, do you want to go like to play Epicenter? I never was there. And like he was, yeah, sure, it would be awesome. And now we started playing together.
Yeah, great. That's the way to do it. Be social, connect, and it's nice. It's funny because Clash functionality was one of the things in LoL I never tried because I never had the time and commitment to say, okay, that I need to find 4 guys, or maybe we were already 3 guys and would need to find 2 additional guys. I never had the time, but it's really nice to see that this was basically the reason for you to find the last guy and to go professional and to start it up. Nice. Gašper, your thoughts on currently what's happening. So maybe you can give us a point of view from the Esports Federation point of view.
I'll just give you a short answer here. I agree with both of the guys. They basically said it all. And just to sum it up, yeah, I think there is still definitely a chance for League of Legends to grow in Slovenia. But I'll go into more details with the other questions. So let's keep it something for later.
Okay. Primož, did you want to say anything?
Yeah, if I may something to add on, I see that CSGO has very active Discord, CSGO Hub, and Legends, there just isn't this Reveris of League of Legends in Slovenia, something like that. I think it's the main reason that most of them, even the player base, sometimes doesn't even know that there are events that they can compete. They don't even know each other. Those pros that are, Slovenian veterans that are on the scene for a long time, of course, know each other, but there's like for Nejc that just come up, this high-rated diamond player, just finding teammates even maybe quite hard because like you have to just post in the random semi-dead Facebook group, and that's not exactly the best way to find a team. It worked for him, but it's not a rule.
Okay. So maybe to jump on that, do you think that it's maybe the League of Legends scene is too fragmented, or that it simply doesn't exist in one place it's not the same, but it's very similar because we can have fragmented parts, or maybe we don't even have one part or many parts. How do you feel like this is currently here?
Yeah, I agree. I would say that it's like people play with their Clash team and don't really go outside of that, don't really meet other players, don't even try then competing maybe in some other tourneys, or they don't even know usually many other players that just play with 2 or 3 friends from real life, and then that's it. And I think this is where we lack quite a lot to engage this type of small fragments and to join them in a bigger picture.
Mm-hmm. And how do you feel like that, like sponsorship and prize pools? How is this changing in Slovenia? I think that in the last couple of years, it has been like on a dramatic uprise, but that's just me as an outside spectator of all of the events that's happening. Maybe Primož, you can tell us from the epicenter point of view, and maybe Nejc and Gašper from the team and organizational part, how this is going.
Yeah, from where I see it, I think it's very comparable, like to the region size. I mean, if you look at the EBL prizes, if you divide them by how big Slovenia is, I think you reach the similar thing. And we try to organize fair events with fair compensation, and I think this makes then some of the best Slovenian players that even play in foreign teams and have like a semi-job in League of Legends then join Slovenian, because the prize pool is still nice, I think. So in this point, I think we are on the right track.
Cool. Maybe Nejc, from your point of view.
I'd say that like from 5 years ago, the prizes have greatly increased. Like if we take a look, for example, from 5 years ago, players got keyboards and headphones, and now we already have a prize pool of $1,000, which is like a great improvement from my opinion and point of view.
Cool. Gašper, anything to add?
Yeah, I mean, about prize pools, it's hard for me to say, as I have already said, I've been disconnected from the scene quite a bit, but when we did a checkup, we set our price pool just a little bit above the average for the beginning. We tried something new. Well, I tried. We'll see how this goes. If there's interest, we'll also raise the price pool, because yeah, that's one of the main things that draws people in. But let's wait and see. It's very early here with our process, with our organization. But yeah, we have a clear goal, and I think we'll get there.
Okay, great. Thank you. All right, we have results from the poll. So basically, if we take a look at, we have about, 50% of the people that are at least playing on some level, and then 25% that are fans. It's interesting to see that there's 20% of nothing the above. maybe post in chat, how do you see yourself if you're nothing of the above, without don't feel any shame. It's nice. It would be nice to hear how you came up to this meetup, and how would you like to get engaged. Okay, and then since when half of the people are from season 1 to 3? That's way back. So that's like way back. That's really nice to see. And then it's 25% of season 4, 5, 6, which means that 3/4 of the people, 3/4 of the people here are like old-time players. So it's nice to see. Nice to see. Does that maybe mean that there's not a lot of new players coming in, or maybe that the new players don't know where to go and how to find the community? You already mentioned that there's no like central hub, but Nejc, for example, maybe from your point of view, have you ever thought about where are you going to get new players if you need them for the team? How are you going to get them? Where you're going to post your open position if there will be some?
So in Slovenia, like if you want to have Slovene players, I guess like the best way is to try to join some Discords and try to find stuff there. But if you try to look other players, there's a site which has a leaderboard of the best players, so from masters up. And then you can find their Twitter, their Twitch, everything you need, and you can just contact them if they would like to play with you. And that's the most efficient way if you want to build a strong team.
Okay, great. Primož, how do you see the influx of like how to say interest for spectators maybe also, and how do you see the maybe now it's this year isn't the best representative of this, but maybe in the previous years where you had offline tournaments where you had live audiences and so on, are these people looking like they're new to the game, or they have been playing for a long time?
I would say like season 10 and 11, I think it's on the upswing again. After it was quite stale for a few years. I mean, especially this season 7, 8, I think rarely anybody even joined. I mean, it was mostly, even in tournaments, just old faces playing again, and even from them, like every time there's one team less or two teams less. And now I think it's on the upswing, and especially because online makes it a bit easier, and introduction of Clash, I think, greatly helped here, because like players get some type of competitive experience, and then maybe they want to try something. Maybe we can do something in Slovenia, or just beat a team, and we'll be like, yay, we did something. I mean, even if we just play for fun as 5 members, and I think it's helping. And I think there are still new faces that are coming now into the scene, especially in this last year. And hopefully this starts a positive trend, especially now with mobile league also existing. Maybe this will also bring quite a spark of life, and maybe one of the people that will maybe start on mobile and then join in a PC game.
Yeah, it's a good point. Wildtree I just got an email, I think a few days ago, and installed it, went through the tutorial, and they said this is going to be a hit with people that are very mobile oriented, I think. And I think that's a good point. Yeah. Okay, so let's move on to the next topic. It's also tied to what it was before. So in December there is a LoL national tournament, and in January in 2021 the Game Gang LoL tournament, both with prizes ranging from 1,000 to 2,000 euros. This is, in my opinion, quite a lot. Like Nejc already mentioned, people were getting keyboards and mouses. Now there's finally money on the line. And there is also the traditional epicenter yearly League of Legends tournaments. So how would you rate the current League of Legends teams? Like concretely, you mentioned Zajčetačka. You mentioned there's a story that everyone already is starting to know these guys. How many of such teams are there out there? How many of the teams are coming to one tournament and then never showing up again? So what's your point of view here, Primož, maybe, because you're tightly involved into the commentating and looking for the storylines.
I think they're finally beginning to exist. Some organizations, there's like Cyberwolves and Dragons that exist, but I think it's still such an open field. I mean, many of the teams are just like those high-tier Slovenian players mostly know each other, and they just mix up for tournaments, and usually they create some of the best teams, and those teams usually win. This type of players mostly usually come from playing in regional leagues around Europe, and don't really play in Slovenian teams, because it's there is no still money insensitive, like a salary for them to actually join a Slovenian team, or even some attempts were creating a Slovenian org and even came into ABL, but then it's hard, like owning an org and also being a player. And I think there's still no type of person that would do something like Ocelot or Expeke in Europe, like create a team and then mostly just lead the team in Slovenia. And this type of figure would probably mean greatly affect the total scene and add some stability to it.
Yeah,
Cool.
If
Yeah.
I can add to this, yeah.
Yeah.
I could also refer to the first question with this. It will be a recurring also theme in my answers. We need some kind of structure and stability for the players and for the teams. That's why we are pushing so hard to make the official things happen. Because players need to take over the responsibility. They need to learn how to manage the teams. They need to know that they need to also invest not just time playing but also other things to get the things going. Because if we want to make the continuity out of it, we need stable teams, and therefore just imagine if we get this, like you were mentioning Zajce and others, imagine if you have 2 or 3 teams like that and we can make a tradition out of it. So like we have a derby like Maribor and Olympia in football, we could make something like that in LOL, but for that we need a structure that is stable so that people know, okay, this is happening every year, these teams are there. With the registration of official teams, we also get the stats from players after the first season. We'll know, okay, this guy played, for example, ADC, he had so many kills, so many assists, so many creep kills, and he was obviously the best in Slovenian league. So for the next season, the bar will be set. The players that will be coming after him, they will know, okay, if I want to be the best in Slovenia, I have to have so many kills. I have to be better than him. But to play at international level, I also have to raise the bar like for 2 or 3 times to be there.
I like that you mentioned that the players and the teams need to put in extra effort and more like commitments outside of just playing the game. Maybe if you can say a couple of words what you meant by that. Just I know that there's a lot of things that also going on outside of playing the actual game, being good at the actual game. I think that's a really important part, and it's also a recurring like theme of what needs to happen in Slovenia, CSGO time, what needs to be in esports in general in Slovenia. And I think it's an important point. Maybe if you can expand a little bit on that.
Yeah, of course. I mean, we see a lot of team that wants to go professional, like Primož, you mentioned Cyber Wolves. That they have good players, they are good here in Slovenia, but I mean, it's a shame if they wanna raise their level, if they wanna really go pro, they need to know how organizations are run. They need to be registered so that they can monetize their stuff, their official outfits, their trademark, their logos, and but for this you need to invest some time, you need to invest some thinking, you need to invest some money. I mean, the thing that Outset is doing right now, it's great. They are prepared to help anyone willing to do that, just with the things like that, and they are basically doing it for free for the first season and a very small fee for every other season. Because if we want to go really professional here in Slovenia with esports, we need more teams, official teams. But players need to also take the responsibility for that. I think the responsibility of our players is still really low, on a really low level. Because being pro doesn't mean just that you play good.
I agree with that. And how do you think, maybe you mentioned that there needs to be incentive, there needs to be like someone that puts in the effort to build a team such as this. Do you think that it starts with the player, or maybe if you want to build a professional team, like I don't know what's the background of Zajce, but for example, if you want to, if someone that isn't a player, but someone that wants to create a team would start making a team and then find the players and then find the support that these players need, maybe even go not just from Slovenian pool, but from regional pool, and be like a Slovenian organization that, I don't know, I'm going to make things up, a Slovenian fanatic brand that he would start it, right? So what would need to happen for someone to take this task?
Yeah, at first there's always money. You need to invest a lot of money. time and also dedication, because as soon as you start doing something official, there will be a lot of obstacles, a lot of challenges, and you need to be, I think it was said to speeches back when you had also this thing, one of the speakers said that you need to have mental stability for that. You need to set up your mind, you have to know what you're doing and just stick to it. And this also connects with the other thing, because before I was talking about the responsibility in teams. Here in Slovenia, I think that in all esport teams, we see that after first obstacles, first place that are not really successful, they just fall apart. But if you're in an organization, you cannot afford that. You have to stick together, you have to persist, you have to train, you have to, like it was also said in this CSGO conversation last time, you have to be prepared to just go into the game and throw smoke grenades for 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours. You really have to improve, but for that you need a dedication, like a complete dedication.
You need to grind. Maybe Nejc, you can give us a little bit on insight from inside one of the teams that's starting. How do you see this? How do you manage this? How do you approach this? That you need like this mental stability. You need this. It's not just fun. It's actual professional playing of video games.
Well, it's obviously easier if you're friends with your teammates, but that's not like a case. But I'd say like you need to be serious and consistent. Especially when I joined Dragon Esports, you get a contract. So if you sign it, like then you need to play. You need to be serious about it, and you actually need to be act like an adult, if I can say it like that. And from my point of view, as I'm a captain, I need to like manage scrims, tournaments. So if I say, okay, we're playing on Monday at 7 p.m., my team has to be ready unless there's like some important stuff, then we like rearrange it. But that's everything from my point of view. You need to be serious and consistent.
And you I don't know if you know any other teams, maybe Primož, if you know any of the storylines here. There was mentioned a lot of times that like I think both Gašper and Primož, you said that a team loses or doesn't perform well on a tournament and then just falls apart. Like what kind of support would we need to for not that to happen? Like you already mentioned mental stability, but that's hard to achieve. That's hard to just say, okay, be mentally stable. It's not easy to achieve it, especially for younger players, which are don't have that much experience, don't have that much exposure to the like professional level of something.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite a problem because most of the teams actually just join up a week before the tournament, and then I mean, it's the players that played before that play in duos, trios, and join with two of other high-skilled players, and they're pretty much become the best team in Slovenia for this weekend. Then afterwards it's not really no real activities. So I think a great thing that helps is this type of league structure that is a bit longer, that makes the team practice in between the weeks, and maybe week 1 they don't even perform as well, but then until week 3, I think even in our game gang now, we see some progress from some teams that actually tried, that actually scream for this month, and they're becoming better. I'm hopeful for our finals, and this type of thing actually helps. But I think a huge problem then is, so where's this next step? I mean, next step from Slovenia, it's EBL, and but in the Balkan League we had our teams. We had upper echelon that was, I think, in the Balkan leagues, that was Slovene seed at least, but it didn't really have much of the backing. It was mostly one-man org, and he was also a player on it, so he didn't actually have much time to actually invest into this team, and it mostly just ended by selling the spot, because this is best way to just then cash in. But I think maybe lacking is here attempts to actually grow, to actually have this type of orgs like they have in the Balkans. There is Crvena Zvezda, a football team that has now a league team that is every year active. They sometimes really create the best in Balkans, and some other orgs in the Balkans are quite consistent, and they're then always in the ABL and are always one of the best, but there's a lack of Slovenian org that would maybe then even promote Slovenian players that would give them a shot in the ABL and then further on to the LCS. And I see.
It's a good point, yeah. When will we see Olympia League team or Olympia FIFA team or Olympia something team? Yeah, it's gonna be. I think that maybe also. Yeah, this is actually a really good point. Yeah, since we're talking like big names, big competitions, big global championships, we know that, for example, there is at least it has been announced that there's going to be in Croatia, there's going to be like a 50 million or something investment into an esports center that will be also an arena, a spectator place, and so on. We all know Katowice. How could we do something like this in Slovenia? I mean, I know it's a long shot. I know it's a long way to get there. But how do we need to approach that? Not only do we build teams here, not only do we build players here, but we build like presence in competition space. Maybe also to host, I don't know, EBL, some part of EBL somewhere. Maybe we can turn Stožice into a big spectator area. What do we need to do to achieve that? Maybe Gašper, you can start here.
Yeah, I agree. It's really a long shot, but I think we really have a chance in some future. We are already have some ideas, like you probably know. Our Esports Federation got accepted into both World Esports Federations. There are people from all over the world. We are talking to them right now. We are getting the experience from them. This year we also saw how ISF organized the World Championship. So we are just getting this experience, learning how to do things. There's also one thing that we didn't really want to put out right now, but we started talking with other European national federations to add as a prize to the winners of our national championship, that they will be as a national team against national teams. So we'll try to organize something like that. We'll see. Gabe had some really nice ideas last week when we were at the general meeting. So yeah, I think we definitely have the opportunity to try and get and connect with them, try to get some of these events to our place, to Slovenia. But it will take some time, yeah. I mean, our federations also consist of the teams that already organize events. They know how to do it. But I must say that ever since we formed this federation and running 7 games together, it's really a hard and tough work. We're practically doing it 24/7, and so to organize something big like that, it will take a huge amount and quite some time to do it. But yeah, it is possible, because it was already mentioned. We have some really good players, top level tier, especially here in League of Legends. And if we manage to get in touch with them, they could also convince their organizations that we have a place here that is worth to come here to check it out, to see it, to organize here. And yeah, but we'll also see after this pandemic how it will go with the live events, because I mean, right now everything is online.
Yeah, that's really true. Maybe Nejc, how do you feel? You've been to a couple of regional competitions here. Have you been outside of Slovenia? How is it compared? Maybe if you know. Also, if you are online, how does it compare in terms of organization and everything?
I have never been outside of Slovenia in any tournament, at least not yet. But I'd say that the experience now that it's COVID, so online, is pretty much very different than when you're playing offline. Like, it's simply the atmosphere when you're playing offline isn't there, when you can fist bump your guy when you get the first blood and stuff like that. It's just so much different. But I think now that it's COVID, there's like more player base, more spectators, because people have more time and they're bored. So it's all the pluses and downs, I mean, pros and cons. but I'd say like offline it definitely feels better in my opinion.
And Primož, I'm sure you have been following KBL, you have been following some other regional events. How would you say we need to evolve to become like an eligible host for something like a bigger tournament? I know we already have hosted Red Bull 1 and so on, and this was on a quite high production level. But what needs to happen further on to move to bigger names, to bigger competition? Here I'm especially thinking about not just having a big competition with bigger prize pools for Slovenian players, but for teams from regional space.
Yeah, I think when it comes to regional events, there was like this, okay, besides ABL, who is Riot sponsored and Riot money, and makes it a bit easier to invite people. It was the A1 Adria League that had also a Slovenian team, Zagreb 360. I mean, it's Slovenian in sort of, but it was Slovene players. It was Croatian org under a Slovenian name, so it was also quite a step for us, I think, at least having a Slovenian team, and they performed quite well. But that type of then league didn't actually continue in League of Legends, as it is quite hard to actually do something besides what Riot does, because it's just the monetary difference is quite huge. So it's mostly you're dependent either on Riot or have some bigger sponsors, like we have Red Bull, solo queue, and it's a bit of different competition, but I mean it's competition on a quite high level. And afterwards, what's the dream for now? I would say just have this huge event in the end that would actually attract some viewers, like this Adria League in the end ended on Zagreb Fair with a huge fair, and then with live audience there, and it was the packed, I mean, 500 something live viewers that were all cheering. It was quite a spectacle. I mean, it's not you don't talk 10,000, you don't start with 10,000.
No,
but
you can't.
It's a nice event, and I think something like that could be possible in a few years. But first we need this type of events, then we, I think, can do bigger ones and maybe try to attract some really huge events.
Okay, cool, thank you. I would ask Jiva if you can start the new poll. So just to see how do you rate yourself on this LOL meter in terms of it doesn't necessarily mean just to play the game, maybe also in some other role that you want to be involved into LOL, but in any role that is not connected anyhow to LOL. There we have 12, 3 more. It seems like 50-50. That's quite a lot, actually, I would say. It's 60% of the people saying that they've tried to make League of Legends or some other game more than just a hobby. That's the audience that we like to have here. That's the people that we want to have here. Since I already mentioned, this is the core goal for our Reveris organization, to try to join people that want to make something out of the game other than just a hobby or just playing it. And it's nice to see that such high percentages are attending. Okay, moving on. So we've mentioned a couple of times that we have a few high caliber players. There are some Slovenian professional players that are competing in foreign leagues or even global League of Legends competition. And according to esportsearning.com, Slovenia currently has 2 players earning more than $100,000 US, and then 3 players earning between 200 and 100,000, 20,000 and 100,000. And this is comparable to Croatia, also comparable to Serbia, Hungary, Austria, Italy. how do you see these big player names that come from Slovenia? How did they emerge from this small country? How did they manage to get where they are right now? Maybe Primož, I know you've been following the scene, you know the storylines. Maybe you can start here.
Yeah, I mean, there's like 5 names that I would say they reached some sort of international fandom. There's 3 LEC players, Slovenians, Crownshot, Nemesis, and of course the famous one, Mickey X. But I think all 3 really reached high level when it comes to League of Legends, and they mostly came from first starting Slovene small tournaments, smashing all of them, winning hard in all of them, and then Mickey X actually quite soon joined the academies from pro teams, and the other 2 guys, Crownshot and Nemesis, joined Mad Lions in Spain. So it's the type of thing where you need to reach out. You usually, as a LoL player, if you're really good, make a Twitter, tell people you're available, you're kind, try to be kind. I mean, it's not just saying that you are, but try to be serious, kind, and I mean, then you sooner or later may actually reach this type of orgs, and with success, people will get to know you, as there isn't really the type of thing. I mean, the foreigners have to know you, because I mean, right now there is no Slovene org that would just take you and bring you up to LEC level. Nobody will actually take you directly from Slovenia, because there is this huge now ecosystem in Europe where it is like LEC regionals, then it's the nationals competitions, and you have to start national, go regional. And I wanted to also point out maybe the 2 coaches that actually succeeded. Like there's Nalo and there's Faxi. Faxi also played, I mean, in the back then in the LCS, and now he's coaching the most successful Balkan org for last year. So there is a way for Slovenians to trickle out, but I mean, it's for now it's mostly the single man approach, just the one person that finds the way to get out into the world. Not to be negative.
So unfortunately, Nejc mentioned that he needs to go at 7, so I would like to jump in and have his comment here. You said you started, you haven't been outside of Slovenia. How are you? Do you have any plans on how to reach out, how to try to expand your reach to teams outside Slovenia?
Yeah, so I recently joined the leaderboard, which is like Master Plus, and I've made a Twitter post that was basically looking for a team because I want to go outside Slovenia. And then like Kenruto, which is a really good player in Slovenia that is also playing in ABL, actually vouched for me. And because of him, I like really got some very good offers, but I need to think about if I will accept them, what will I do, and of course, deeply think about it. But making a Twitter post, reaching the leaderboards is basically the best way to go semi-professional when you're thinking about going outside of Slovenia or abroad, in other words.
Yeah, that brings me to an interesting question. You said you have to think about it, you have to look at the offers. Do you have anyone from anywhere in Slovenia or even outside Slovenia that can help you with that decision, that can help you determine whether the offer is good, is it bad, how well is it structured, does it make sense to go there, is this the right step for your career, and so on? Do you have any support here, or you're on your own by yourself making these decisions?
So from my experience, the first guy that I asked was actually Coach Nalu. His opinion means a lot to me because he's very experienced, and he also gave me some points. And then of course also my friends, and of course my dad and mom, because they also play a big part in that. And I think that reaching to guys that are experienced, so maybe I'm from Slovenia, can actually like clear your things, clear your mind, and help you decide whether this is the right path or not.
Cool. How would you? I mean, do you feel like there needs to be? I don't know. Maybe just like trying to see if there's a need for such a entity that would I don't know, help you with deciding something like this, that there's some legal counsel or something like that that needs to be present in Slovenia for you to decide easier? Or do you feel like that the way it is right now works for you?
No, it like really depends on yourself. Like I'm thinking about it because I have school and stuff like that. But like I think if you're not going to school, like you can just accept it, and it's like very good because outside Slovenia you get actually a salary and stuff like that. So for some people it's maybe even better to just accept it right away, try to get like famous, get a fan base, and try to get to the upper teams, maybe better teams, and work your way to the top, I guess.
Yeah, cool. See, that's the mentality that we need.
Yeah,
just
exactly.
attack and go and push on. I see that there's a heated discussion going on in chat. some
Yeah, I forgot to mention kicked, of course, because I mean, I tried to mention everybody, and I forget the one who started it all.
Cool. It's nice to see.
And then he even said among the lines that he's old, you know. He mentioned just the recent ones.
so mean. Okay, Nejc, thank you. I mean, if you need to go, I understand. If you can stay for a couple of minutes, please feel free to do so. Otherwise, thank you so much for joining, and thank you for your answers. Hopefully, we can talk more, and hopefully, we can see you joining somewhere professional as soon as possible. And good luck.
Well, thanks for having me here, and of course, have a great holidays.
Yeah, same to you.
Bye-bye.
Ciao. Okay, Gašper, maybe we didn't get anything from your side regarding the professional players, how we currently stand in Slovenia. How do you see it? What should be?
Yeah, I would connect this with other sports here in Slovenia, that those who are top level, they are mostly there because of their own hard work, their own dedication. They had no support in the structure here, because I try and look back on this and try to compare it with SKL, so school basketball league. When we had this, we had a pool of talents. Our league was up higher. Our top clubs were able to get those talents and play them in the EuroLeague. We really had a good national team back then, and ever since they shut it down, look at the struggle that Slovenian national basketball teams and players are having right now. It's really, yeah, we have good players, but they are just here and there with no official support. And I mean, if we had a system, we could help them, we could bring them up. We had a pool of talents. We could easily see who's good, who we had to push, and we could make them easier for them to progress on international level. This is one thing, and the other thing is all of these good players that we have and we need to get them back here in Slovenia. They have invaluable experience and everything, invaluable connections, and if we could get them back, they could really help all of these talents coming up and advance.
Yeah, that's a good point. Gonna be a little bit provocative here. What do you feel is the role of the Esports Federation of Slovenia in this story? Like, do you plan to support players? Do you plan to give them like any connections, any advice, or is this something that it's outside of the scope of the federation?
No, I think that this is also a big part of the federation, because federation should hold all of the esport clubs together, should provide the help to them. I mean, we cannot really do much right now because, like I said, we are not really fully established. We don't have so much money, but we are growing, we're advancing. Yeah, in quite some years we will set up this system. We will get enough money. We will be able to help the community, to give them what they deserve, because we all are there for the players, for the community, not for ourselves, because we all, like I said, are investing a lot of our time and money into the project. And yeah, that's it. I mean, I don't know what else I can add to this.
Yeah, and I think that's an important point that you made, that we should attract the Slovenians that are especially good or successful in abroad. to come back and try to help us get this valuable experience out into the Slovenian wild, let's say like that. Have you maybe reached out to anyone to see if they would be interested for that, for such cooperation, for maybe have some counsel or not counsel, just like to have you as a weighing point towards them, so that people could approach you and say, look, I need help with this and that, and then maybe you can find a pro player that would be able maybe to help with that and maybe to reach out to him.
Yeah, we already did this through some clubs. Some of them already reached to us that are good, maybe not top tier, but it's really hard for us to attract them right now because, like I said, we don't have a stable system. We alone don't have so much support right now that we could run this. But yeah, there is interest, and in a couple of years, when we get this up and running completely and fully, I think there won't be a problem to get some of these people back to help with everything.
Cool. So the future is bright.
Yeah, absolutely. We are looking forward to it. We are working hard. I mean, I don't doubt that we won't succeed because we are also getting all the international connections with other federations, with other countries. They also have some good players, and even if we don't get our good players back, we will get some good players here.
Cool. That's great to hear. Okay, so we've used up our 1 hour. Let's make a recap. Maybe Primož, you can start to give us like what's this bright future that we're going towards, and try to maybe in a few sentences say what do we need to get there.
I think that first, really, this type of Slovenian hub for League of Legends is lacking, and it's hurting the whole scene because you don't even have. I mean, there's so much Slovenians that actually play League of Legends, but they play it either solo or with a really group of 2 or 3 people, and don't join into, group of 10, 20 people that would play then, that are similar rank, that casually play, but then just connecting these small fractures together. And I think this is the key step to actually get then even the audience. Then you get with the audience, you get the sponsors, and you get the money for the future things. But I think the future is actually quite bright because even there are more teams, there are more activities that are going on, and I think that hopefully, in the future, more it continues to grow and even becomes actually a big thing in Slovenia.
Okay, nice to hear. Maybe Gašper, in a few words from your side, what needs to happen? What would be your ideal future? Let's say, maybe Primož, you can also answer this question because I forgot to ask it like that. What would be your best case scenario in 1 year or in 5 years? What's the best that can happen in 1 year and the best that can happen in 5 years?
Well, for the first year that we just get a solid ground with our project, and in 5 years we have this up and running, like I said, solid structure that has solid teams that can regularly play every half a year or every some months. Yeah, just stability, system structure stability. Because when you get this, we will get the viewers, we will get the sponsors, we will get the good players, we will have stats, we will be able to reach out of Slovenia.
Maybe Primož, 1 year, 5 year.
Yeah, I agree. It's definitely just having, we try here at Speed that the next year, more and more events, just have an event that most of the year then teams stay together, they play together, they get to know each other, and just this way the scene will grow. And then maybe in 5 years we can have even better leagues, have international teams come out of Slovenia and actually represent us in the international levels, and maybe be the best in the Balkans, have a best team in the Balkans.
Yeah, I think
because we have the players to actually do it.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, so maybe to recap from my side, we know that League of Legends is still alive, going strong, not stopping and growing. So there's no worry for us to lose that this momentum that has been ramping up for quite some time now. It will be interesting to see what happens with Wild Rift. I think that's definitely a good how to say fishing ground for players that are younger, that are more mobile oriented, and I think it's going to be very interesting to see how that develops in the future. I think that we all mentioned that even in Slovenia the things are moving quite well. The prizes are going up, prize ranges are going up, tournaments are ramping up, teams are also forming, and then we're starting to get some storylines. I think this is one of the most important things for any game to succeed, to have interesting storylines, to have a little bit of drama in terms of teams, who wins what, who was supposed to win, and so on. And I think this is really important, and I love to hear that this is already happening. And yeah, we already have players that have been successful on abroad very, very well. They're doing very well. We know that we have a large pool of players that we can fish from, and I think that it's only a matter of time that and I agree with both of you that the future is bright, and it's only a matter of time. Hopefully in sooner than 5 years, probably later than 1 year, we will have like this solid structure that will keep us moving forward. And maybe this is something that was mentioned on our previous meetup that was gaming and esports, like generally oriented in Slovenia. Maybe for the future meetup, as a starting talking point, that besides like teams, competitions, and then the importance of team sport, we also need the roles that are, I think Gašper, you mentioned this, and this is important. We need roles that are not just players. We need coaches. We need people that take care of the mental stability that we talked about, psychologists, dietitians, and so on. And we also see this increasing in Slovenia, and I think this is an important part. Like we had the speaker Nuša Klepec, who was a recent guest at Esports and Gaming Meetup, who is an esports performance coach and psychologist who is working for an Austrian and Scandinavian team. Hopefully, she will also have the opportunity to work in Slovenia in this bright future that we have. So maybe this is a good thing that we should stop and maybe leave for next time. I would very much like to thank everyone for joining. It was a really nice discussion. Primož, Gašper, Nejc, unfortunately, I need to leave. It was really, really nice talking to you guys. And yeah, follow us join this meetup group on Meetup. We will be sharing all of the details there, as well as on our social media. Like the Facebook page of Reveris if you'd like to follow more of our events, what's happening at our place. We will also be sending a feedback survey for this meetup on everyone that joined on Meetup, where we got your email, so we can send the feedback. And that's basically it from my side. Any closing words, Primož, Gašper?
If I may start, just join, follow League of Legends, and just reach out. It's not that actually hard to find it. There are groups, it's just a few clicks away usually, and you get to know Slovenian side, and I think hopefully really in a few years our generation will manage to achieve what we are dreaming of, just having Slovenian real structure and have actual Slovenian active scene in League of Legends and in other esports.
Okay, Gašper, any final thoughts?
Just to say how far we have already come, because when I was young, we had pretty much nothing. Yeah. I was playing Counter-Strike in garages with my friends. Now we are talking about professional esports in Slovenia, and I really have no doubt that the next generation, and probably even my kids, will be able to survive with just some structure in Slovenian esports.
Yeah,
they can right now in football or any other sport.
yeah, I agree. I remember, like I said, playing on the little LAN 3 or what it was in a Murkovci in some, how is it called? Skaden, I don't know. It was really dirty, and we barely had the electricity to power all of the computers, and now we can host events at the faculties. I mean, how far we've come. So this is really nice to see. And also, I forgot to mention, you can join us on our Slack, where we have these discussions, and yeah, feel free to join. So thank you, everyone. I would conclude the official part of this, and maybe Jure can start recording. And if anyone wants to stay, we can chat a little bit more about what needs to happen and how to do that. Thank you, everyone.